You smile, but it's practiced. You speak, but it's filtered. You wake up every day wearing a version of yourself that's slightly edited, polished enough to be accepted, restrained enough to be safe. And yet, at night, when no one's watching, that mask starts to suffocate. You feel like an actor who forgot where the script ends. You start wondering, who am I when I'm not performing? Carl Jung called this master persona, the face we show the world to survive in it. It's not inherently evil, it's necessary. But when we forget that the persona is only a role, we lose touch with the actor behind it. The authentic self buried beneath layers of adaptation and expectation. In this video, we'll dive deep into the psychology of fakeness. We'll explore how modern life pressures you into roles: friend, worker, influencer, citizen, and how this fragmentation leaves you hollow. By the end, you'll understand why you feel fake, how you built that mask, and what Jung believed it means to take it off without destroying your place in the world. So stay till the end, because somewhere beneath that smile, the real you is waiting to breathe again. Every society demands masks. The persona begins as protection, a survival mechanism in the chaotic dance of human relationships. As a child, you learn which emotions brought punishment and which earned approval. You hid your rage, your tears, your wildness. Slowly, you crafted a public self, one that would be acceptable. Jung wrote, "The persona is a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. You needed it to function, to work, to belong, to be loved. But the more you adjusted to others' expectations, the less you could hear your own voice. The persona is born in innocence. It's not deceit, it's adaptation. Yet adaptation becomes addiction. When you start depending on a mask for validation, you begin to believe that the mask is you, and that is where the tragedy begins. At first, wearing the mask feels empowering. You master the art of impressions, how to smile without feeling, how to speak without revealing. People applaud your confidence, your composure, your politeness. But internally, something goes missing, a quiet sense of estrangement. You no longer know what you actually want, only what you should want. You start editing your desires to fit your image. If you're the kind one, anger becomes forbidden. If you're the strong one, vulnerability becomes a threat. If you're the intellectual, you hide the child who still longs for play. The persona gives you social success, but spiritual emptiness, because the mask that protects you also isolates you. Jung warned, the persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself as well as others think one is. When you mistake the mask for the self, you begin to live a lie so deep that authenticity feels dangerous. You avoid silence because silence confronts you with the stranger behind the smile. You scroll endlessly, talk endlessly, work endlessly. Anything to avoid the echo of your real self calling from beneath. This is where the tension grows unbearable. The persona is not evil. It's incomplete. Behind it lives everything you've repressed. Anger, shame, jealousy, creativity, sensuality, tenderness. All that energy doesn't disappear. It becomes a shadow. The more perfect your persona, the darker your shadow. The nice person hides resentment. The humble person secretly craves admiration. The moral person projects evil onto others. And thus begins a psychological war between your public self and your hidden self. Jung saw neurosis as the symptom of this war. When the persona grows too rigid, the unconscious retaliates. Dreams become violent. Anxiety blooms. Depression whispers that you're not living your life anymore. This is a cost of over-identifying with a persona. Your soul rebels. Your body becomes a battlefield for a war between appearance and authenticity. Modern people call it burnout. Jung would call it loss of soul. If Jung were alive today, he'd see an entire civilization trapped in the persona. Social media has industrialized self-presentation. Our faces are filters. Our emotions are captions. We sell versions of ourselves designed to impress algorithms, not express souls. Work culture demands the same performance. Be professional. Be positive. Be productive. Every role demands a different mask: employee, influencer, partner, citizen. And we juggle them until nothing real is left behind. You're rewarded for visibility, not authenticity. The louder your persona, the more you're praised. But what does it cost to maintain it? We live in a constant state of self-marketing, editing, branding, optimizing our identity. But as Jung might say, every time you optimize your persona, your shadow grows hungrier. Your unexpressed emotions don't vanish. They ferment in silence. The result? An epidemic of anxiety, imposter syndrome, and quiet despair. We have never been more seen, nor more unknown. So what can be done? Not by destroying the mask, but by seeing through it. Jung never said, abandon your persona. He said, make it transparent enough that your soul can shine through. Unmasking isn't about rebellion. It's about honesty. Ask yourself, when I feel most alive, when do I perform instead of live? What parts of me do I censor to stay light? Those questions open the gate to your shadow, the neglected parts of you that hold the key to wholeness. Every emotion you suppress becomes a ghost haunting your identity. To integrate, you must invite the ghost in. When you feel jealousy, don't moralize it. When you feel rage, don't repress it. When you feel fear, don't hide it behind irony. Observe, name, accept, because the shadow once acknowledged becomes your ally. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. To reclaim your authenticity, you must walk through that darkness, through the discomfort of not knowing who you are without the costume. Integration means harmony, not perfection. You still need a persona to survive. Society runs on masks. But now, you wear it consciously. You can smile without lying. You can speak politely without silencing truth. You can adapt without abandoning yourself. The goal is not to destroy the persona, but to own it as a tool, not an identity. When you realize the mask is yours to use, not yours to become, you regain freedom. Integration begins with small acts of authenticity. Say no when you mean no. Admitting confusion instead of pretending certainty. Letting silence speak instead of forcing performance. These moments reconnect you with your real center, the self that Jung believed was the organizing principle of the psyche. The self is not an image. It is the quiet awareness behind all images. It is what watches the mask being worn and knows it is not the mask. When you reconnect with that awareness, life stops feeling like a stage play and starts feeling like participation in something real, something alive. You stop seeking validation because you finally trust your own inner voice. And that is the true freedom Jung meant by individuation, the process of becoming whole. You've spent years perfecting your mask, but now you see through it. You understand that the persona isn't your prison. It's your instrument. You can play it beautifully, but it no longer plays you. Jung's message was never to reject society, but to awaken within it, to live truthfully in a world addicted to appearances, to be human, flawed, alive, and whole. So the next time you feel fake, remember, the feeling itself is not your enemy. It's your soul asking for honesty. You can take off the mask when you're alone, breathe deeply, and whisper, I am not who I pretend to be. I am the one who pretends. That's where authenticity begins, not in rebellion, but in awareness. Because the moment you recognize the mask, you're already free of it.